Nintendo has been dominating the gaming industry lately. The Nintendo Switch 2 became the fastest selling console of all time after selling 3.5 million units in just 4 days. At the same time, PlayStation, Xbox, and even PC handhelds are getting more expensive. Yet Nintendo keeps selling millions of consoles, keeps announcing huge games, and somehow stays ahead year after year. So what is Nintendo doing that everyone else isn't? And why does Nintendo keep winning? On April 2nd of 2026, Sony announced that the PlayStation 5 was getting a price increase. The base console went up by around $100 in some regions, and the PS5 Pro increased from around $750 to roughly $900 depending on where you live. Those are some pretty big increases, but with hardware and memory prices continuing to rise, it's understandable why companies are doing it. Then just a few days ago, Microsoft announced that beginning August 1st, Xbox consoles would also be getting more expensive. The 512GB model is increasing by about $100, while the 1TB version is going up by around $150. Steam has also increased the price of the Steam Deck in some regions, and the Steam Machine pricing is honestly kind of crazy. How do you sell a console for over $1,000 and not even include a controller? Now, Nintendo also announced that they would be increasing the price of the Switch 2 by about $50. Compared to every other competitor, Nintendo's increase is by far the easiest one to swallow. Even after that increase, the Switch 2 is still one of the cheapest ways to get into current generation gaming. Now, don't get me wrong, Nintendo isn't perfect. Their games rarely go on sale, Nintendo Switch Online still isn't as good as what PlayStation and Xbox offer, and the Switch 2 definitely isn't the most powerful console you can buy. There are plenty of things Nintendo could improve, but even with all those flaws, they continue to outsell almost everyone else. That's the first reason Nintendo keeps winning. But have you seen the latest Nintendo Direct? We got a ton of new games and updates, but near the end of the Direct, something happened that I don't think many people expected. Kingdom Hearts appeared, and it was Kingdom Hearts 4. Fans have been waiting years for this game, and Nintendo was the company that got to reveal it. That's a huge moment, and I think it made at least a few more people leave that Direct feeling much more excited. Throughout the presentation, we also got more information on the now available Splatoon Raiders and Star Fox, and the announcement of Switch Sports Resort with 12 Sports, and finally one of the biggest reveals of all, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time remake. That game alone is probably going to sell a lot of Switch 2 consoles. Now, to be fair, PlayStation and Xbox both have some incredible games too. PlayStation has Spider-Man, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, the new Wolverine, and several other amazing exclusives. Xbox has Game Pass, Gears of War, Forza, and Halo, and has been buying studios for years to strengthen its lineup. This isn't me saying Sony and Microsoft make bad games, because they absolutely don't, but Nintendo has something neither company can really match: exclusives that consistently sell hardware. Every major Nintendo franchise stays on Nintendo systems: Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, Smash Bros, Splatoon, and Pokemon. If you want to play those games, you buy Nintendo hardware. Meanwhile, Xbox has been putting games like Halo and Forza on PlayStation. So if someone is standing in a store deciding between a PlayStation and an Xbox, PlayStation suddenly becomes a much easier choice because it has its own exclusive games, plus games that used to only exist on Xbox. Nintendo doesn't have that problem. If you want Zelda, Mario, Pokemon, there's only one place to play them. That's another reason Nintendo keeps winning. Nintendo also made one of the smartest decisions in gaming history. Back in 2012 when they released the Wii U, it struggled. Before the Switch, Nintendo had two completely different ecosystems. One for handhelds, one for home consoles, and instead of continuing that strategy, Nintendo merged everything into one system, the Nintendo Switch. Now every first-party game releases on the same console. Want to play in bed? Take it out of the dock. Want to play on your TV? Drop it back in. Simple. PlayStation and Xbox have started entering the handheld space too, but it's much more expensive. If you wanted a PlayStation 5 and a PlayStation Portal, you're spending hundreds more than just buying a Switch 2. Xbox now has handheld partners like the ROG Ally, but once again, you're spending far more money. Now with Nintendo, one purchase gives you both a handheld and a home console. Now obviously there's a trade-off. If you're looking for some absolutely best graphics, the highest frame rates, or the most powerful hardware, Nintendo isn't where you're going. PlayStation, Xbox, and gaming PCs all have the advantage there. But Nintendo has proven that for millions of people, convenience and great games matter more than having the most powerful machine. That decision completely changed Nintendo's future, and I think it's one of the biggest reasons Nintendo keeps winning today. Nintendo also does something their competitors struggle with. They always give people something to look forward to. Every year there's some sort of Mario or Zelda or Pokemon, all these big Nintendo releases. Meanwhile, PlayStation and Xbox often go years between first-party releases. Nintendo has built an ecosystem where there's almost always another major game right around the corner. Just while I was writing the script for this video and editing it out and getting ready to record, I heard about the new PlayStation announcement going into effect in 2028 that they will no longer be producing discs for their games, which means that the PS6 will most likely not have a disc drive at all, and that also means there's a good chance that the new Xbox might not either. Now, Nintendo has been doing their game keycards, and I think that this is exactly where we are needed to go if this is where we want to continue physical games in any way. People love criticizing Nintendo, and honestly, some of those criticisms are deserved. Their online services still need work, their hardware isn't the strongest, some of their business decisions frustrate even longtime fans, but when you step back and look at the bigger picture, the sales, the exclusives, the pricing, the hybrid console, the roadmap, it's hard to argue with the results. Nintendo isn't winning because they have the most powerful console. They're winning because they figured out what millions of people actually want to play. Nintendo cares about people having fun with vibrant games and enjoyable cartoonish Mario titles, where the game isn't ultra realistic, it's just a good time with a cool world to play it in. I know a lot of this video will seem like lays, and I know Nintendo isn't perfect, and they will stress me out sometimes. I also own a PlayStation and I love my Switch just just so much more. And until another company can consistently offer that same combination of great games, affordability, convenience, and unforgettable franchises, I don't think Nintendo is going anywhere anytime soon. Since the making of this video, it seems like Xbox has started to turn things around. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. We're close to 500. If you want to join that pre-500 mark and mark yourself as an OG, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.